Tupac's last call to Method Man about Diddy goes viral. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Appreciate all the love and support with you guys coming over. With videos like this, man, I just try to read in between the lines, see what information has came out, make some type of connections. It's a lot that's been going on this year. A lot, man. A lot of videos have been like resurfacing. Stuff comes out and you may not pay attention to it until something else comes out. Then you make the connection. Look, I'm just trying to see what the hell is going on with this. Tupac was one of those guys who was probably the realest rapper to ever grace the mic. You know what I mean? Didn't bite his tongue and had a lot of people after him, man. But we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
It's like, Meth, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the f? I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. There ain't no way I'm getting in that fucking car. I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face.
I'm trying to see if because sometimes they'll show clips and then they'll show more context. But when you hear somebody say, I'm not getting in that damn car, in this Puff car, you just wonder what connections are, like how other rappers feel about other people and stuff like that, man. That's why I said people knew how people were. They just really didn't say nothing.
His face looked like that picture before he died. That face he had. Oh, that look. He had that look on his face. You know what I mean?
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. If you're gonna act like you a gangster or a G or the king of New York, I'm gonna expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm gonna want to crush your empire. And that's what it's time for.
Method Man is finally speaking out about a conversation he had with Tupac shortly before Pac was killed. And it sounds like Pac was trying to warn Method Man that Diddy wasn't who he pretended to be, and that the industry was being manipulated behind the scenes in ways most artists didn't even realize at the time. Now, before people try to write this off as some made-up story, the truth is Tupac and Method Man actually had a real connection. They collaborated on Got My Mind Made Up, which came out in 1996, just months before Pac killed. Pac went out of his way to keep working with East Coast rappers he respected, even while beefing with Bad Boy. And out of all the East Coast names, Pac always made it clear that Meth was one of the few he trusted. And here's where it gets interesting. In one of their last conversations, Pac apparently told Meth to watch out for certain people, and Diddy's name came up. And while Meth didn't give away every detail, he did say that there was a time Diddy tried to get him to leave a party with him. But Meth said something felt off, so he turned down the ride. And looking back, Meth admitted that both he and Pac were paranoid during that time. And honestly, with everything going on, they had every reason to be.
But Puffy, P. Diddy, and you around a bunch of other motherfuckers. Showtime, baby. And
So to give you some context first, Method Man was one of the few East Coast rappers who managed to stay neutral during the whole East Coast West Coast mess. While most people were either picking sides or getting dragged into the drama, Meth kept his respect on both coasts. He worked with Biggie and Diddy early on, but he also had real love for Pac and didn't let the media pit him against anyone. He wasn't about that fake industry loyalty. He just wanted to rap, stay true to his people, and avoid the politics. And that's probably why Pac trusted him enough to speak freely, because he knew Meth wasn't playing both sides. He was just trying to survive the chaos. Now, Method Man has always been the type to stay out of the gossip, and even with all the craziness surrounding Diddy lately, he's mostly stayed quiet and kept it moving. That's how he's always handled the industry. Stay solid, don't speak on what doesn't need speaking on. But an old interview with Meth is making rounds again, and it's got people looking at things differently. So in this interview, Meth talks about the night he met both Diddy and Tupac, literally on the same night. This took place in a party in LA, and Meth said Pac walked straight up to him and showed nothing but respect. And what stood out was that Pac brought up the Wu-Tang chain situation when RZA got his chain snatched at Club 662.
We on our way out. Lights come on at the end of the party. Party over. Lights come on. I'm blowed.
I'm trying to see, do I remember that? Because I watched that Wu-Tang show that was on Hulu. Did that come up? I'm gonna have to check for more videos, man, because like I said, stuff starts to resurface, and you really got to read in between the lines what people say, because I like I said, people be saying stuff without actually saying it. You really got to read in between the lines.
Was that Pac brought up the Wu-Tang chain situation when RZA got his chain snatched at Club 662.
We on our way out. Lights come on at the end of the party. Party over. Lights come on. I'm blowed now. I'm like, shh. Feel a tap on my shoulder. Turn around. It's Pac. Last I ain't seen all night. I ain't know he was even in there. I turn around. Pac there. He's like, yo, wanna holler at, anybody? Next thing I know, cameras everywhere. So while he's saying this, I remember something an altercation happened with RZA in Vegas. Something happened with the chain, and Pac was trying to tell me, if I was there, that would never happen. Blah, 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 blah. And I remember looking up, and Suge was like this with the cigar in his mouth, looking down at me like this. So I'm like, damn, I'm just on a plane with this. He looking at me crazy right now, So then I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture before he died. That face he had.
Oh, this one.
That look. He had that look on his face, you know what I mean? And I remember looking back down, and I couldn't understand anything he was saying after that, because mad was going through my head, and I'm looking at the death row piece on his chain. Then he was like, yeah, we gonna all meet up. And I was like, yeah, you know how men do it. We handle our business. Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples. Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive.
Yeah.
Worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Mep, come on.
By the way, Pac would later say in another interview that he personally found who stole the chain and then gave Wu-Tang the message that if they wanted to see the dudes that did it, they could see him. But here's where it gets weird. Meth said that as soon as he finished talking to Pac, Diddy sent someone to try and get Meth to hop in his car and leave with him. Luckily, Meth said he didn't like the vibe and turned it down.
Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples. Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive.
Yeah.
Worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Mep, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. That's Puffy car. Ain't no way I'm getting it.
Boy, this wording is, I'm glad I can hear, because this wording ain't matching up at all. At all. They did a horrible job.
Get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. That's Puffy car. Ain't no way I'm getting it. No.
And now with everything coming out about these private Diddy parties, that small moment suddenly feels way more loaded. Meth didn't say anything wild in that interview. He just told the story straight. But fans are reading between the lines now,
right,
especially knowing what we know about Diddy's behind-the-scenes behavior and how he was recruiting rappers to party with him.
Hennessy, come out and play.
And if you really pay attention, Method Man's been dropping warnings for a while. He just never spelled it out directly. One of his biggest clues was his verse on Suspect Chin Music, where he raps, "They got me fed up from the head up, put up or shut up. On stage in them shiny get-ups, ninjas is funny. Energizer bunny actors. They hustle backwards. Son, I think they gay rappers." And it's not hard to connect the dots. Meth was clearly side-eyeing the flashy, fake gangsta artists who were dominating the scene. And let's be real, that screams bad boy era. Now at the time, it probably flew under the radar, because no one wanted to touch those topics out loud. But now, in light of everything surfacing about Diddy, it looks like Meth might have been one of the few who saw it early and decided to speak in code. But what about Tupac? What exactly did he warn Meth about? Well, according to people close to Pac and what fans are piecing together now, it wasn't just about the rap beef or surface level drama. Pac had already started to see Diddy as more than just a rival. He saw him as a part of a system that was using the industry to control, silence, and exploit artists. Pac believed Diddy wasn't just playing the game. He was helping to rig it. Whether it was through shady contracts, weird parties, or backdoor deals, Pac saw something fake in the image Diddy was pushing. And he didn't want Meth to fall for it. But it actually gets even darker when you go back to Tupac's infamous Vibe magazine interview from 1996. In that interview, Pac straight up said that some of the biggest names in the industry were guilty of the worst kinds of crimes, including pedophile stuff. And yet somehow, they were the ones being protected by the system. Meanwhile, he was being dragged through the mud and thrown in jail over what he always claimed was a false accusation. And while Pac didn't name Diddy directly in that part, the entire interview was basically aimed at Bad Boy and everyone backing them. So if you read between the lines, it's not hard to figure out who he was pointing at.
Because they just...
I'm trying to figure out, was that interview before, just trying to think of the timeline. was that before or after he did Hit 'Em Up? Because y'all know when he did that Hit 'Em Up diss, oh man, boy, it's a lot, man. Like, again, you know, the Diddy trial is technically over. We're just waiting to see what his sentencing is going to be. But it was a lot of connections and stuff that did not get exposed in that trial that I thought was going to come up. And that's why I think a lot of people aren't sitting well with it. You know, how you say, well, he wasn't charged for this. They didn't bring this up. And it's just like, man, the aftermath of it is going to be insane.
Little ones.
If it was a rapper that mess with guys and go both ways, Pac didn't feel that was good. Because Pac felt he was real serious about the music. So if you're a producer or you rap, and regardless if you're married or not, and you got a boyfriend that works for you, a real boyfriend who used to be a dancer, Pac would studied all the facts. Pac was real smart. So before he say something, he'd go and do his homework. He'd say, okay, this guy right here, they say he gay, he go both ways. I'm not gonna put it out there on him yet, but I'm gonna do my research, and if it's true, the world should know.
And looking back at all this now, it's clear Tupac was way ahead of his time. He wasn't just calling out fake friends or shady business, he was trying to expose something much bigger. Pac saw early on that what Diddy was doing wasn't just about winning a rap beef. He suspected Diddy was part of a deeper, darker machine, a network of protected elites inside the music industry, doing whatever they wanted behind closed doors, with full immunity. And Pac was one of the only people bold enough to try and pull the curtain back, which is probably why he ended up being targeted so aggressively. And it's wild when you really think about it. Tupac was the one who was followed and spied on by the FBI for years.
So they saw that COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program set up by J. Edgar Hoover, saw that the Panthers were doing a damn good job because all over the country they got this buzz. Similar to how Thug Life is. So, Drug Life? Thug Life. Thug Life. Yeah. So the Panthers got everybody talking about the Panthers, and we want to be free, and we want decent housing. We're talking good, not just bitch hole, you know, straight good. And they start infiltrating. Now, why would they do this to a young black organization? And why would you not think they would do it to me? They infiltrated them, meaning they got people to say that they were Panthers, they joined the Panthers, and they would start the ruckus. Like, say, let's go shoot up the botanical gardens or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And do it in the name of the Panthers, but it's a cop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody think it's the Panthers because he's dressed like a Panther. You know what I'm saying? And he's screaming the Panthers, but he's a cop. He's been sent by the FBI. They got papers to document this shit. You know what I'm saying?
The FBI also compiled a massive database on Pac with over 4,000 pages of documentation. And to this day, they have only released about 100 pages. And even those 100 are redacted. Meanwhile, Diddy, who's now facing multiple lawsuits and disturbing allegations from people who were around him for years, was being protected. Not watched, protected. The same law enforcement agencies that were watching Pac's every move seemed to turn a blind eye to what Diddy was doing. And now, decades later, all the stuff that Pac was hinting at is starting to make sense. Which brings us back to Method Man. Fans are now saying he might have had a lucky escape. If he had taken that ride with Diddy that night, who knows what would have happened. Maybe nothing, or maybe he would have ended up stuck in something he couldn't get out of. But let's hear your thoughts on all this. Was Pac trying to warn not just Method Man, but the whole industry? Was Diddy operating as part of something bigger this whole...
You already know my answer. They get rid of the ones who try to speak out. They get rid of the ones who try to go against the grain. I said before, it's a dark industry. People know it. People don't really talk about it that much because of the fear of being blackballed, fear of being canceled. You know, I feel, especially in today's era, you can definitely make it on your own. You don't need people backing you. You can do whatever you want on your own. But people want that super luxurious lifestyle. That's why they make these deals, and that's why they comply. I will say Method Man probably got very lucky. But, you know, on that Wu-Tang show, he did, I think he got shot in the foot or something like that. But, or in the leg. But I feel like a lot of people may have had some close calls with people. Remember, you can always say no, man. But once you make that deal, they got you. They got you. They got you. You just got to be careful who you surround yourself with, man. Appreciate y'all coming over and watching. Peace out.